guys, welcome back to Vanellope'sCorner. Wait, I can't. Can you guys see me? Because I can't see anything. Where's my face? Okay. Hang on, I can't tell if it's working or not. What the fuck just happened? I can't see my face. Wait. What's happening? Oh, there we go, finally. Only took like... Are you... What just happened? Okay. Okay, I don't know what's happening. This is annoying. Okay, this live stream might not work. Is it actually working? Is it gonna stay put? Okay, good. Hey guys, welcome back to Vanellope'sCorner. So, I know I said I was gonna do part 2 of the live stream tomorrow, but I actually didn't get to it. Like, I didn't even think of it, and then I thought of it, and then I went back to my room, and then I just chilled for a few minutes, and then by the time I thought about it again, it was like 3 in the morning, and my mom was asleep, and I can't be on that late because then I'm gonna bother her. So I just took a shower, and now I'm just like chilling here. Sorry, but you guys are gonna hear all of me sniffling and stuff. This is a live stream, so there's nothing I can do about it. There's one viewer. Hello, random viewer, who are you? That you, Nathan? Okay, I don't know, there's one viewer. But today I'm gonna basically be reading a few different creepypastas. I'm gonna try and read at least 3 or 4. So, hang on, I'm really curious. What? I'm really curious. Okay. So I found this list of a whole bunch. And I think the one we're gonna start with is Autopilot. Okay, I don't know who the one lone viewer is. Whoever they were just left. I guess they didn't like my stream. So, bye. Have you ever forgotten your phone? When did you realize you'd forgotten it? I'm guessing you didn't just smack your forehead and exclaim, damn, apropos of nothing. The realization probably didn't dawn on you spontaneously. More likely you reached for your phone, pulling open your pocket or handbag, and were momentarily confused by it not being there. Then you did a mental restep of the morning's events. Shit. In my case, my phone's alarm woke me up as usual, but I realized the battery was lower than I expected. It was a new phone and it had this annoying habit of leaving applications running that drained the battery overnight, so I put it onto charge while I showered, instead of into my bag like normal. It was a momentary slip from the routine, but that was all it took. Once in the shower, my brain got back into the routine it follows every morning, and that was it. Forgotten. This wasn't just me being clumsy, as I later researched. This is a recognized brain function. Your brain doesn't just work on one level, it works on many. Like, when you're walking somewhere, you think about your destination and avoiding hazards, and you don't need to think about keeping your legs moving properly. If you did, the entire world would turn into one massive hilarious QWOP cosplay. I wasn't thinking about regulating my breathing. I was thinking whether I should grab a coffee on the drive to work. I did. I wasn't thinking about moving my breakfast through my intestines. I was wondering whether I'd finish on time to pick up my daughter, Emily, from nursery after work or get stuck with another late fee. This is the thing. There's a level of your brain that just deals with routine so that the rest of your brain can think about other things. Think about it. Think about your last commute. What do you actually remember? Little, if anything, probably. Most common journeys blur into one, and recalling any one in particular is scientifically proven to be difficult. Do something often enough and it becomes a routine. Keep doing it and it stops being processed by the thinking bit of the brain and gets relegated to a part of the brain dedicated to dealing with routine. Your brain keeps doing it without you thinking about it. Soon you think about your route to work as much as you do keeping your legs moving when you walk, as in not at all. Most people call it autopilot, but there's danger there. If you have a break in your routine, your ability to remember and account for the break is only as good as your ability to stop your brain from going into routine mode. My ability to remember my phone being on the counter is only as reliable as my ability to stop my brain entering morning routine mode, which would dictate that my phone is actually in my bag. But I didn't stop my brain entering routine mode. I got in the shower as normal. Routine started exception forgotten, autopilot engaged. My brain was back in the routine. I showered, I shaved, the radio forecast amazing weather. I gave Emily her breakfast and loaded her in the car. She was so adorable that morning. She complained about the bad sun in the morning blinding her, saying it stopped her having a little sleep on the way to the nursery, and left. That was the routine. It didn't matter that my phone was on the counter, charging silently. My brain was in the routine, and in the routine, my phone was in the bag. This is why I forgot my phone. Not clumsiness, not negligence, nothing more than my brain entering routine mode and overriding the exception. Autopilot engaged. I left for work. It's a swelteringly hot day already. The bad sun has been burning since before my traitorously absent phone woke me. The steering wheel was burning hot to the touch when I sat down. I think I heard Emily shift over behind my driver's seat to get out of the glare. But I got to work, submitted the report, attended the morning meeting. It's not until I took a quick coffee break and reached for my phone that the illusion shattered. I did a mental restep. I remembered the dying battery. I remembered putting it on to charge. I remembered leaving it there. My phone was on the counter. Autopilot disengaged. Again, therein lies the danger. Until you have that moment, the moment you reach for your phone and shatter the illusion, that part of the brain is still in routine mode. It has no reason to question the facts of the routine. That's why it's a routine. Attrition of repetition. It's not as if anyone could say, "Why didn't you remember your phone? Didn't it occur to you? How could you forget? You must be negligent." This is to miss the point. My brain was telling me that the routine was completed as normal, despite the fact that it wasn't. It wasn't that I forgot my phone. According to my brain, according to the routine, my phone was in my bag. Why would I think to question it? Why would I check? Why would I suddenly remember out of nowhere that my phone was on the counter? My brain was wired into the routine, and the routine was that my phone was in the bag. The day continued to bake. The morning haze gave way to the relentless fever heat of the afternoon. Tarmac bubbled. The direct beams of heat threatened to crack the pavement. People swapped coffees for iced smoothies. Jackets discarded, sleeves rolled up, ties loosened, brows mopped. The park slowly filled with sunbathers and barbecues. Window frames threatened to warp. The thermometer continued to swell. Thank fuck the offices were air-conditioned. But, as ever, the furnace of the day gave way to a cooler evening. Another day, another dollar. Still cursing myself for forgetting my phone, I drove home. The day's heat had baked the inside of the car, releasing a horrible smell from somewhere. When I arrived on the driveway, the stones crunching comfortably under my tires, my wife greeted me at the door. "Where's Emily?" Fuck. As if the phone wasn't bad enough. After everything, I left Emily at the fucking nursery after all. I immediately sped back to the nursery. I got to the door and started practicing my excuses, wondering vainly if I could charm my way out of a late fee. I saw a piece of paper stuck to the door. Due to vandalism overnight, please use side door. Today only. Overnight. What? The door was fine this morning. I froze. My knees shook. Vandals. A change in the routine. My phone was on the counter. I hadn't been here this morning. My phone was on the counter. I'd driven past because I was drinking my coffee. I'd not dropped off Emily. My phone was on the counter. She'd moved her seat. I hadn't seen her in the mirror. My phone was on the counter. She'd fallen asleep out of the bad sun. She didn't speak when I drove past her nursery. My phone was on the counter. She'd changed the routine. My phone was on the counter. She'd changed the routine and I'd forgotten to drop her off. My phone was on the counter. 9 hours. That car. That baking sun. No air, no water, no power, no help. That heat. A steering wheel too hot to touch. That smell. I walked to the car door. Numb. Shock. I opened the door. My phone was on the counter and my daughter was dead. Autopilot disengaged. Okay, well, that's fucked up. The first time I heard it, it was on Mr. Creepypasta's channel, which is a really good one. Probably my favorite Creepypasta channel, like the OG Creepypasta channel, I think. There's like a shit ton of Creepypasta channels. There's Mr. Creeps, there's Creeps Make Pasta. There was all sorts of them. Wait. I've never read this one before. How to successfully ransom a child. I wonder what this will be. This is interesting. Okay. How to successfully ransom a child. I've never seen this. Hello, No Sleep. I have looked on this site for a while, and I feel it is time to share some things with you. Honestly, I'm only doing this because I am sick of hearing about people kidnapping kids and doing it all wrong. I've successfully ransomed over a dozen children. Some might call me an expert. I want to tell you how to do it correctly. Then maybe you'll start doing it right. I'm going to use my most recent conquest as an example. Her name is Sophie. The first step is to choose. Oh, you don't need to know my name. The first step is to choose a kid. Gender doesn't matter, but I prefer girls. If you want the best ransom, you'll want to pick a family that is tight knit. The more the parents love the kid, the more they'll give up to get it back. Choose a family in a town you don't live in. Ideally, it should be at least an hour away. You must have no connection to the family. They don't know you, but you will learn everything about them. I picked Sophie because she had braided pigtails. I liked that. She was just big enough to do some things on her own, but still little. Small, smooth. I grabbed Sophie on her way home from school, but before taking her, I did my research. This is where so many people fail. You have to study the family. You have to know when they leave the house, what hobbies they have, who visits, and where the breaks in the chain are. You need to spend a lot of time watching, waiting. There is so much waiting, but it makes the price so much better. Sophie's family lived in a farmhouse in a small town. Their police force consisted of a sheriff and only a few others. A smaller police force will help you. To make yourself less noticeable, don't use the same car to watch the house in. Changing colors and kinds of car will make it impossible to track you. It took 5 months for the perfect opportunity. Sophie usually walked home with a friend. The way home was through a field, out of sight from any house. But the friend was a barrier. I was lucky. The friend was sick. She didn't go to school. So Sophie walked alone, her backpack hanging off of one arm, her precious blonde hair braided in those long silken pigtails. Don't hurt her. Make it fast. One arm around the diaphragm, the other over her mouth. She is small. Carry her to the car. Don't lean in and smell her hair. Once you have the kid, the real work starts. You'll want to send a ransom note in the mail. Emails and phone calls are too easily traceable. A letter you can simply place in any mailbox. Leave the return address blank. Keep her quiet. No one can hear her, but silence makes it better. In your letter, you'll explain that you have the child. You will not harm the child as long as the family is willing to pay the ransom. As far as the amount of money, it needs to be a reasonable amount. Significant enough to warrant an abduction, but low enough that a typical family could raise the amount. I usually stick between $20,000 and $50,000. An average family can get a loan for that amount if needed. Ideally, the letter should arrive the day after the kid is taken. The family will have already called the police. This letter will incite even more fear. You cannot go to the house. Do not drive by. Do not go to the town, no matter how much you want to. And you will want to. You may watch the news. You may rub the strands between your fingers. You may plan your next move, but nothing else. In the first letter, you'll simply say you will call with more instructions. Do not call. The family will be waiting by the phone. They will not leave the house. The FBI may have been called. A wiretap will be placed. Every conversation will be recorded. You cannot let them hear your voice. Sophie's hair tastes like laundry soap and freshly mowed grass. Next, it is time to write your second letter. It should be sent 2 weeks after the first. In this letter, you will include something written by the kid. This is to prove that it is alive. Make it write about things you would have no way of knowing. You should also include a picture of it, fully dressed, with the newspaper. The letter will remind them of the ransom amount. Say you are anxious to get the money. You will contact them soon with the drop location. Remember the smoothness. Sophie, soft, sweet, syrup. After the second letter is another waiting period. This one is longer. It has to be at least a few months. That's when you will be tested. You will want to call them, to reach out, but trust your instincts. The prize is worth the waiting. Spend time with Sophie. Tell her about her father. Your secrets are safe with her. You can trust her. When the wait is over, you will send the last letter. In it, you will include a picture of the kid in different clothes, haircut, but smiling. Holding another newspaper, it can write something to its parents, but it isn't really important. What does matter is your exact instructions. The money must be in cash and untraceable. The drop point must be in the middle of a popular wooded area in the early morning, around 5 a.m. The area should be at least an hour away. The entire family must bring the money to the site. No cops allowed. The family must wait an hour at the location with the money in the spot. Then the kid will be released to them. The reunited family must then return home immediately and never speak of this event again. Of course, the family will not follow all of the rules. Police will no doubt join them at the site, hiding, but that's okay. You never planned to go there in the first place. After all, Sophie has been dead since the day after you took her. She has to die. It's part of the plan. You use her, love her, take her hair, and then she is gone. It is gone. It is now with the other its. Bloated empty shells. Deflated balloons hanging from the ceilings. You have to make it write the letters when you take it home. You tell it what dates to write. You take the 2 pictures that first day too. Just edit the newspaper to match the correct dates. It's not hard. The waiting is hard. But the prize is worth the wait. Soaked in braided pigtails, you can suck on the ends as you drive to the house. It tastes like a little dead girl, but the hair was already dead. No one will be at the house when you get there. Everyone, including the authorities, will be at the drop site. Now it is their turn to wait for something that will never come. You have to break into the house. This is where you will collect your ransom. You may take anything that is of any worth. Televisions, jewelry, computers. If the computers do not have a password, most don't. There is another task you must complete. Delete all photos of it. Log into any social media. Most people leave themselves logged in, and delete any reference to it. Photos, quotes, artwork. Do the same around the house. Take all the family pictures. Take any art it drew, anything with its name on it. Make it look like there never was a child in the house at all. The process can take a long time. Be thorough. Think of the braids in your front seat, the smoothness. And finally, as you drive away, you can collect your ransom, your prize. It won't make that sure you can sell all the items you stole. It won't make you that much money, but that's not the real reason to do this. What you will collect is the knowledge that you destroyed that family. They will never see your kid again, never smell its hair. You own it now. They will never recover. All of their treasured items is gone. All of their treasured items are gone. You have stolen their sanity, joy, safety, and that fact tastes almost as good as the pigtails. So there you go. That's how you successfully ransom a child. Now all of you out there have no excuse to do it wrong. Hang on, I'm looking for another story. I've never heard of Wrong Way Charlie. Let's see what this is. Okay, this looks creepy. Terrifying, really. That's the point of this, isn't it? Okay, Wrong Way Charlie. Do you remember your very first best friend? I do. Midnight was giving birth in the closet at the end of the hall. The repeating patterns of deep growls and shrieks woke me. "Kittens!" I nearly shouted as I crawled down from the top bunk. My sister stood on the bottom bed. I paused on the ladder, held my breath, hoped she wouldn't open her eyes. After a moment, she rolled onto her side and fell back into a deep sleep. I was glad she didn't wake. I wanted the kitties all to myself. Midnight continued to scream. I cracked open my bedroom door and saw my parents kneeling in the hallway, peering into the closet. They noticed I was standing there and told me to get back in bed. "But I want to make sure Midnight is okay," I protested. "She was mine, too. I should have been allowed to check on her." Dad refused to let me come out of the room. He said he would get me when it was over. Mom agreed with him. She said I was too little to watch. Too little? I was 4 years old and knew that babies came from a mommy's belly. Plus, I had been waiting forever to see the kittens. My parents weren't being fair. "Please let me," I begged. "I'll be good." Mom commanded me to go back to bed. I crossed my arms and shook my head. Dad threatened to spank me. I stomped my foot and cried, thinking a tantrum would make them understand that I was right and they were wrong. Dad didn't care much for my new approach. He picked me up by the arm and carried me to my bed. He said to keep quiet or else he would take the nightlight and lock me in the dark. Excuse me? "It's not fair," I screamed, instantly regretting it. Dad squeezed my arm so tight that I began to cry for real. When he let go, I rubbed the spot, trying to make it look worse than it really was. He told me I was punished, then pulled the nightlight from the wall. "No, don't!" I cried out. Okay, that's... Wow. Okay, this dad is shit. Ignoring my pleas, Dad went back into the hall and slammed my door shut. Aw, poor sister. I heard my sister sobbing from on the lower bed. I felt bad that she had to suffer for my mistake, so I climbed down and cuddled up next to her. I told her I was sorry. She was terrified of the dark, more so than I, but eventually she relaxed and fell back to sleep while holding my hand. Aw. That reminds me of how I used to protect my brother. Midnight's persistent shuddering cries and gargling noises kept me from closing my eyes. I stared into the black, waiting. It felt like forever. I'm not sure how it happened, but the next thing I remember is Mom waking my sister and me. "Come see," she urged. The sunlight coming through the window lit up her smile. The kittens were tiny versions of Midnight, 8 of them in total, all the same jet black color, except for one. He had a speck of white fur above his nose, with white front paws to match. That one was mine. I knew the moment I saw him. Dad said we could give them names. It wasn't an easy task since they all looked the same. After several failed attempts to remember which was which, my sister decided the best thing to do was to call him Kitty Cat. But she was only 2 years old and pronounced it Kika. The oddball was the only exception. He was mine to name, so I named him Charlie. Charlie was more playful than the rest of the litter. Whenever my sister and I were allowed to pick them up, he would roll on his back to let us pet his belly. Sometimes he would try to suck on her fingers, mistaking them for a part of his mother. It never failed to make my sister laugh. And sometimes, when Midnight laid down on the box to feed them, he would get turned around, managing to walk away from her. Mom would pick him up, turn him in the right direction, and say, "You're going the wrong way, Charlie." Eventually, the kittens opened their eyes. My sister and I were allowed to play with them without supervision, but only if we stayed in the hallway. Dad said we weren't allowed to take them out of the closet because they were too small to run free. We didn't mind. Sitting on the floor petting them was one of our favorite things to do, especially when Midnight fed them. Charlie was turning out to be the runt. He ate well, but he never latched onto Midnight like the others did. While they loved to pat at her stomach and purr, Charlie was always too busy going the wrong way. No matter how many times we picked him up and faced him in the right direction, sooner or later he would get turned around again. Time went on and the kittens got bigger. They meowed whenever someone would walk down the hall, demanding us to stop and play. Sometimes they got up on their hind legs, just barely able to peek over the edge of the box. One day my sister yelled something about the kittens. Mom and I came running from the living room to see what the fuss was all about. Charlie was in the hall on the outside of the box, trying to correct his mistake. He clawed at the cardboard, wanting to make his way back to the other side. He kept falling over, shaking himself, then trying again. It was funny. Feeling sorry for him, Mom picked him up, gave him a kiss, and sat him next to his brothers and sisters. "You went the wrong way, Charlie," she said. That was the first time Charlie broke out of jail, but not the last. He would make it over the edge, and either Midnight or Mom would grab him by the scruff of the neck, then toss him back into the box. It happened again and again. The whole family had to help keep him where he belonged. After a while, everyone got tired of dealing with his shenanigans. We officially changed his name to Wrong Way Charlie and let him have free rein of the hallway. Even Midnight stopped caring. All the other kittens were content to stay in the box, but Charlie came and went as he pleased. He never went far, though. Sometimes he would sneak a peek into my bedroom or into the bathroom. That was the extent of his exploration. It was easy to forget that he was only a few weeks old, and too frightened to venture into any of the rooms. The box in the hallway was the only word that he knew. The only world that he knew. The only place he felt safe. A few days later, I woke to the sound of Grandma's voice coming from the living room. She was talking to my sister about making her a new dress. No one told me Grandma was coming over, I thought. Excited to see her, to see if she brought me a present, I jumped out of bed and ran down the hallway. I feel this soft crunch under my foot. What was that? I turned around to see what I had stepped on. Then I screamed. Wrong Way Charlie crawled toward me. The back half of him was crushed and twisted. Horrible sounds escaped from his small mouth. Meow! Meow! I continued to scream. Charlie was still trying to crawl toward me while making that resounding, awful sputter. His body trembled as his little head twitched incessantly. Mom came running down the hall, my sister right behind her. Blood was everywhere, a trail of gore soaking into the carpet. All I heard was screaming, 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 screaming. It echoed down the hallway and throughout the years. Midnight leaped out of the closet and ran toward me. Wide-eyed, she hissed and swatted, then lapped at the blood flowing from Charlie's gaping mouth. Grandma grabbed a hold of me, held me close. My sister pressed her face into Grandma's side so she wouldn't have to see. Mom and Charlie were screaming, still making those appalling noises. I couldn't tell them apart. "It's still alive," Mom wailed. "It's still alive. Oh my God, what do I do?" Though Grandma tried to protect me, I couldn't look away. Charlie was crying in agony. The look on his little face said, "Why is this happening to me? What have I done? Make it stop, please. Please make it stop." "You have to kill it," Grandma shouted angrily. "Put the thing out of its misery, for Christ's sake." Mom ran into the living room and turned the corner. I heard a drawer in the kitchen pulled open then slammed shut. She came running back, hammer in hand. "Hey!" Mom shrieked. She pounded the hammer down on Charlie's head over and over and over again while Midnight attacked her, trying to protect the kitten. And yet Charlie still crawled toward me, gurgling, "Meow, meow." Midnight kept scratching and hissing. Mom kicked her away and brought the hammer down again. After the fifth or sixth drop, Charlie finally stopped making the awful noises. Chunks of his skull and brain littered the hallway. It was hours later before I calmed down enough to understand what had happened. Mom told me that it was okay. Dad said it wasn't my fault. They said these things as they cleaned up the mess that used to be Charlie. But it wasn't okay, and it was my fault. My kitten got hurt because of me. If I hadn't been running, my Charlie would be alive. I killed him. Charlie was my first best friend, my first responsibility, and my first introduction to death. He'll always be with me. Even now, after all these years, every time I walk down a fucking hallway, I see Wrong Way Charlie's mangled little body crawling towards me. Sammy Fowler. Okay, I think we're gonna stop there for now because that was a terrifying story, so I think I'm done for tonight. I'm very tired. I love you guys. I love each and every one of you guys. Please don't forget to always be yourself. And remember to keep yourself safe. Social distancing, self-isolation if you can, stuff like that. Bye.